is joining us. Rahul, hi morning and thanks so much for your time today. First up, give us your general reading of where you're seeing the markets headed, because even after the kind of news flow that we heard yesterday on that GST flip, not much of that was reflected by the markets. Do you believe this was already largely priced in, and what in your opinion could be the next trigger that could actually move the market from where it is?
Hi, good morning. I think way the markets have reacted, I don't think so. There's been, we've seen fairly bit of stocks rallying in terms of which are direct beneficiary of this entire, tax cut. So my sense, I think, and this will continue. And if we look at, I think this kind of a reform, it is just not a tax cut reform, but it's a growth reform for the equity markets. What we believe, just the government is just realizing that and have been doing the steps to revive the consumerism in country. So my sense, I think the downsides, where the markets were, I think downside will be restricted, and slowly and steadily, I think we will see in terms of the sectors outperforming and the sentiment also moving up. So I think the clear beneficiary, what we saw initial round of it, we saw some consumer discretionary companies, we saw some FMCG, auto companies, and so on and on. So my sense, we'll see some kind of more upside still in the markets, and I think any decline in near term, I think would be a good to invest in the markets.
All right, any decline in the near term would be a good opportunity to invest. But Rahul, along with that, which sectors do you believe are yet to price in the good news flow that we are hearing around, especially on the macro front? Because even yesterday, Rahul, when we saw movement in autos, barring M&M, seemed like everything was already priced in after that run-up that we have seen post 15th August speech. Other than autos, any particular sector where you believe can offer good buy-on dips opportunity?
So I think one clear winner, I think, is obviously the private banks and the private NBFCs, what we've seen, I think. So yesterday we saw some kind of private banks also moving up and the NBFC space. So I think if we have to discuss on the private banks, and if I look at the valuations and look at the 10-year average, that's still trading at below the 10-year average valuations. So they're still cheap, and I think there's a visibility. I think in this quarter numbers also, the large private banks reported as stellar numbers. HDFC Bank and ICICI Bank, both the banks, gave us solid numbers, and I think outlook was also good from their perspective. So my sense, I think this to stop and that private banks can do well, and obviously, as I discussed, I think we saw Bajaj Finance. The stock has rallied, and I think after a long time, the stock has come out, and way which HDFC Bank has performed in last 6-8 months. Similarly, Bajaj has also done that thing. So all your consumer finance companies will also do well. So I feel that I think private banks still augurs a reasonable valuations. Top bets HDFC and ICICI, obviously, and from finance space, NBFC space, I think top idea, I think Bajaj. And then you can look at L&T Finance, which again, L&T Finance also reported a stellar performance this quarter. And my view is that I think this sector can be re-rated and then I think should rally over a period of time.
Okay, so that's the take coming in on financials and large private banks. But Kunal, let's talk about Pharma, because on a week-to-date basis, Pharma is one of the least gaining sectors, while it is still in the green as of now. Let's see what happens today. But there's news flow on Biocon this morning, wherein their arm Biocon Biologics, so they've received the US FDA observation for their Bangalore unit, and that has closed with 5 observations of Form 483. What is your chart check on Biocon, and is this your preferred pick when it comes to Pharma, or anything else that's looking good?
No, I think, one of course, because of the obvious reasons of what's happening across the US tariff, that's one of the reasons why Pharma sector has underperformed. And, when we look at the breakup of the Pharma stocks, the major concern for the Pharma sector is the heavyweight names, the likes of Sun Pharma, Lupin, Cipla, Dr. Reddy, etc. These stocks have hardly shown any major signs of recovery. You can draw a flat line around, these stocks over the last 2 or 3 months, and the price performance has been very, very plateaued for, these kind of names. And that's one of the major reasons why you may not probably expect the Pharma sector to do very well unless at least 2 out of the 3 of the top 4 names would start to pick up price action. So I would believe that the likes of Sun Pharma Cipla, Lupin, etc. I think these are the ones which hold the key for the pharma sector to go in for a many kind of a major potential, sustainable turnaround on the short-term price charts. Coming to Biocon, I think it's a very volatile kind of a stock. Now, I've tracked this stock over the last many years, and it seems like that the stock is, has come back into a zone where the volatility for the stock is exceptionally high. Over the very short-term charts, I think 360, 365 was the near-term resistance for the stock price, which it tested, I think, last week or so. And from there on, the stock has come back into a corrective phase. So wouldn't be surprising to see the stock maybe underperforming a little bit more. But I think as a near-term play, if someone is looking to buy, I would look out for a breakout or a sustainable breakout, at least above 365 for Biocon before one could look at a long trade over here.
All right, that's about Biocon. Five's observations for its Bangalore facility. Let's watch out for that. But Rahul, the other pocket is actually insurance. While yes, there are exemptions with respect to the GST, no GST on health and the life insurance and the ITC impact. That is something that we will be watching out for. While we have been talking to a lot of these managements, they were bullish that going ahead with the kind of demand and increase in the penetration that they're hopeful of, that should offset the kind of impact that ITC can bring into the financials. What's your sense on the insurance pack? Because just yesterday we have seen a sell-off there too.
So I think this is going to be a structural, as I said, it's going to be a long-term reform, and we will see continued. Maybe, we would have seen some kind of nervousness. Obviously, the markets gave up the gains during the day. So, but I feel still, these are the opportunities whenever we see a sell-off, and we continue to do it. So, and I think insurance as a sector. So obviously the valuations, if I look at it, I think most of them have rallied post 15th and earlier also. So I've been very selective in insurance as a play also. The sector looks good and as a good for allocation as a portfolio as well. So SBI Life, HDFC being the top of it and followed by rest. So my sense, I think, should be a good opportunity in case there be any correction in any of the insurance companies.